Daniela, if you can handle can you admit people and monitor the chat for me, please? All right, so guys, first of all, thank you so much for joining us again at VIP Connections Jumpstart Mondays. I'm really super excited to bring to you a little bit of something that we all need for our business, which is marketing and branding, okay? Because we all need that in order to expose ourselves out to the public so that we can get obviously leads and prospects and all that great stuff. So I just wanted to first say that we have to remember we have a couple leaders here today, Daniela, and we also have Carmen, which is under Jose Delgado right now, but I'm sure she'll switch over as soon as she gets home because she was driving. So if you have any questions, Yemalis is actually out of town, so she won't be joining us today, or she was helping an agent with something. So, actually, she's coming in, so maybe she will be here with us today. Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And remember that this is an interactive type of system here. I want to make sure that you guys ask questions, that you raise your hand, that you interrupt us. I'm okay with interruptions and you asking questions because I'd rather you ask questions at the time that we're presenting so that we can answer those questions for you. So, just lift your hand or unmute yourself and ask a question, and that is fine. Okay. All right. So the first thing that we're going to get motivated, right? Because we want to make sure that we start off our week with some motivation, with a lot of these things that we need to do to basically just get our week started, right? So our quote for this week is success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And that was by Winston Churchill. And when I see this motivational quote, the first thing that I think of is that we can't give up, right? We can't give up just because things are not going the way that we expected. Just because we fail, we get a declined offer, or our deal falls apart, or those three clients that you saw, buyers or sellers that you thought you had, that they decided to go with someone else, or they decided not to list, or whatever it is, we cannot get unmotivated. Okay. We cannot determine that and take that as failure. Okay. And remember that, like he says, failure is not fatal and success is not final, but it's the courage for you to continue that really counts, because the people who have succeeded in this business, in any business, did not give up on the first time they failed, or even the second time, or even the third time. I mean, we have so many people that we can say that, famous people, like the one who invented the light bulb, right? Thomas Edison, he didn't quit. He kept doing it. I mean, I think he went 100 times before he actually got the light bulb to actually work. So imagine if he had given up, right? Imagine if we give up, how many families are we going to hurt if, because we're not there to support them, we're not there to help them, we're not there to guide them. So anybody want to add anything about what they feel about this particular quote? No, we got some quiet people today. All right. All right, we'll keep it moving. All right, so first I wanted to talk a little bit about the market update. As you can see, this is from Realtor.com, the chief economist, and this was for June's report. And it says the number of homes for sale is rising in many markets, giving shoppers more choices than they've had in years. Sellers are becoming more flexible on pricing, underscored by the price reductions we're seeing. And while higher mortgage rates are certainly weighing on demand, the silver lining is that the market is starting to rebalance. This could create opportunities for buyers who are now prepared. And obviously, I just got an email earlier today that the rates went down again. So, hey, awesome that the rates went down. So we're super excited about that. And then the other slide I wanted to share with you is that 8 in 10 potential home sellers think that they will get their asking price or more. Okay, so 8 out of 10 potential sellers think that they will get their asking price or more. Who here can agree or disagree with this? Who can give me an agreement or disagreement? Do you guys agree with this or do you disagree with this?
I completely agree with that
Okay. Why do you agree with it?
because they always want the higher price. They
Right?
want to they always thinking that their houses is more than it is the value of the house. So yeah.
Okay. So I mean, the good thing is it's good and bad at the same time, right? Because, some of our sellers unfortunately price way overprice their homes. And they're expecting to get that, but because, there's more inventory right now, that might be a little difficult because I have a listing right now that it's priced right, it's not even overpriced, and it's been sitting on the market for almost 2 months already. So, and it's a beautiful property. It's not, a property that shouldn't sell, but because there's more inventory, there's more new construction in the area, obviously we're competing with that. So, it differs, I guess, on the market you're in. Yemalis, what's going on in your market? Do you think that potential home sellers think they will get their asking price or more?
Well, the state of Texas is in a very normal, neutral real estate market at the moment, and properties are staying an average of 30 days, 45 days. Not necessarily in a chaos, meaning like, oh my God, I need to go ahead and adjust down or anything like that, but that's the turnaround time. And they're pretty much, I want to say everybody's getting asking price, and if not asking price, they're not getting above it. So we're looking at, I mean, if you price correctly, which I see more and more that happening because I don't know in Florida, but in Texas, appraisals have been an issue. So the agents that have been active in the last 12 months have had experience with appraisal challenges. So when when you take listings now, people are very, very conscious about that math, and they're really pricing those property right. So sellers are either getting what they listed for, or maybe not quite 5% less on it. But it's very unusual to see above the listing price, unless of course you're in like very unique, desirable markets. The school district is there, the amenities and all that. But because we have so many new developments and because we have so many homes in to select for, basically we don't see that competition that drives the prices up for sellers. In California, depends on the market, you still see overbid. And you are starting to see price adjustment. There was, I want to say there was when the whole announcement, and I talked to you leaders a week ago, when the whole announcements of, the list of the people, all these countries being, listed by immigration and all of that, that caused a fear in California, like, immediately, and people reacted, and there were deductions of prices unnecessarily done, and there was a little bit of the real estate industry reacting too fast, in my opinion. And we did see price adjustment going down, not necessarily because of market, just more behavior from the industry there. And that's what has happened, I want to say, in the last 14 days in California.
All right. And how about you, Carmen? How's it going in the Georgia, that area, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina?
Well, Georgia is it's a steady market right now. We see that many of the listings are staying on the market for over 3 to 4 months. That's the average. It's taking longer. Not every seller is ready to make reductions yet. They are still thinking in the market the way it was 2 or 3 years ago. Unfortunately, we are in a transition. We have not become a buyer's market yet. We are still in a transition period between a seller's market and a buyer's market. And of course, there are many areas that will behave in a different way. If you are in the metro Atlanta, is completely different. And there are pocket areas of the suburban surrounding, the Atlanta metro that it's moving. It's a desired area. They are not having issues with pricing or overpricing. They are selling in within 60 days or so. but the average is taking longer than that. So hopefully, with these new reductions on interest and that we are all expecting, it will become better. But as of right now, the sellers are still waiting a little longer to sell, and the inventory is increasing as well. So
Okay,
that's the
awesome.
way it is here in Georgia.
Perfect. And Daniela, how about in Florida, in central area? I mean, Miami is Miami.
Yeah.
Everybody wants more than the house is worth.
Well, it is exactly the same as the other two leaders just said, and especially with compared to Georgia, it's the same thing. Sellers are not yet super because they're not happy, so they are reluctant to agree to that. But I just had a situation this week where 2 weeks ago I did like monthly update on the market for my client of a listing that's been on the market for about 70 days. And I told him that you should not be like the perspective of the buyers nowadays is not what sold, but it is what the neighbor or what is for sale is offering, because some people are, they need to sell. So they're selling for less and they're pricing aggressively. So once someone prices aggressively, the buyer will take that into consideration and he will no longer look at what sold for more a month ago. So my client told me, no, we're not ready. We're not going to drop it. There's no way. This is not what's going on. And then 10 days later, they called me and said, okay, so let's go ahead and reduce. So, and then they had reduced, and we had a little bit of an increase on the showings of the property, but not something drastically yet. And he did a big decrease, but honestly, it's just that the inventory is growing by the day. So it is the same thing. So if you have a buyer, you can incentive and say, hey, this is a very good time for you to come and buy because it's going to be for a while like this.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. I mean, and talking about in the markets in Puerto Rico, I mean, like I said last time, our market here is people are pretty much getting what they're asking for. So sellers are getting what they're asking for, not by the local market, but outside markets. So, you have a lot of outsiders coming in and really paying, these prices on these homes that might have sold 4 years ago for 100,000, and now they're selling for 500,000 because people are putting a price tag on the house and they're selling, because our inventory here is lower. There's a high demand for properties here in Puerto Rico. There's a lot of there's over 300,000 homes that are vacant right now because they've either been abandoned or they're in some sort of legal process. So there's a lot of homes, but not enough housing for people here. So the sellers are just, overpricing their houses and they're getting them sold. I mean, they're selling because there is a shortage here. So it is a really good, it's a very good seller's market here. Not so much for the buyers, the local buyers, but definitely, again, investors are coming in because of the incentives here on the island for tax benefits. And so there's a lot of people moving here from outside and paying, people from California, people from Canada, and people from, smaller islands that are just moving here because of the incentives. And they're paying way, way overpriced in my opinion, for homes. But now that's, obviously changing the market here. So it is definitely a seller's market here in Puerto Rico. And in Miami, it's about the same as in Central Florida. It's, the sellers are, the listings are staying on the market for a little longer. There are some price drops. So I've seen a lot of price dropping on the MLS. So if you go to your local MLS, just look at, whatever you're looking for and see how many arrows are going down. And you can see that there's a lot of price drops on a lot of the properties. Or they're offering more incentives. The sellers are offering more incentives. All right, so much for that. Anybody have anything else to comment regarding the market update? Anyone want to share anything that they've seen before I move forward? Nope. Okay. So today we're going to talk a little bit about marketing, but I want somebody here to give me a description of what they perceive to be marketing and one as to what they perceive to be branding. And what's the difference? What's the difference between marketing and what's the difference between branding? Because there's two different things. So can anybody here give me a little synopsis of what they think the difference is and what they consider marketing and what they consider branding? Remember, this is interactive. There's no right or wrong answer. This is just for us to all learn. Mr. Shaw, did you unmute?
We're just gonna auto volunteer.
There you go.
So let me see who's here. I'm going to go ahead and call Claire.
There you go, Claire.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hello, Miss Claire.
Hello, my dear. Well, I'm a little lost because I just feel like my marketing is not 100%. Then I do all my marketing myself, but I do working on flyers, I work on Canva, I work on little bit Instagram and the social media, and but I do a little bit everything. So just being curious and trying to do it myself. So about the brand, so I'm not sure what to say. So if
Okay,
anyone
all
can
right.
help me with that.
Thank you for being honest.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. Because that's how we learn, right? If we're honest with where we're struggling, that's how we learn. So there's two differences between marketing and branding, right? Marketing to me is what you do, right? Your postings, your weekly stuff on social media, it's just the engagement, right? You're putting your brand out there, okay? And branding is more who you are. So what are you marketing, right? So your brand is what you should be marketing. You should be branding yourself and marketing yourself, okay? And branding is a little bit more let's say for example, if I were to look up Claire, if I were to look you up online, right? Somebody referred me to you and I'm going to go online and I'm going to search for Claire. What am I going to find, Claire?
Oh, I see. Maybe as now it's coming more clear in my mind is like, for example, I like to go be more with new construction. So I'm trying to brand myself on new constructions. So
Okay,
I'm being very much
how
trying to
how are you
post
doing that?
things like that.
How are you doing?
Well, I'm excited about it because I'm discovering that I'm on my own. I have a client that hopefully we can make some deal before the end of the year. And
Okay.
my client, I already offer many of this builders, and he loves the Pulte homes and
Okay.
great quality homes in there. I've been
Okay.
studying about the quality of the homes with different builders, and trying to go online and just read it about and making my notes. And I had a meeting last week with Linar, which I did my first video, and
Awesome.
was yes, I haven't posted yet because I'm
Okay.
learning how to cut things on the video on my own. Not sure yet, so
Got it.
I will be posting. And I posted some flyers that I did on Canva and Instagram. And so, but that's very good that you're telling me that, because I'm going to be focused more and brand myself and the new construction.
Claire,
Okay.
I'm going to offer some support with where you are right now, because I think the majority of us have been where you are, and maybe in this call as well. So I myself as a leader went through a branding process in 2017. So I've been doing this forever. I've been in the market for, I want to say 22 years, 20 something years. I'm going to say my age. But with that said, I was the realtor, and until this day, I hate my picture everywhere. And not because I'm not photogenic, not because I'm not, because I always think it's cheesy. It's like, here is cheese, Jamal. You're not buying my face, right? You're hiring me, my services, my knowledge, whatever. So I always had a conflict with that concept of people seeing my face wherever I needed to be. So when I finally sit down with a professional group and that I needed help and they rebrand me completely, they brought it to my attention that branding, it's not necessarily the marketing material that I get to create for a house. You know, the post, the all those generic stuff that of course speak about me and the quality of my services, right? It is an extension of who I am and of course La Rosa Realty California or Texas and all of that, but it's about J Maddie. It's like, why do you take the time to have an appointment with me versus Teresa or versus Carmen or versus Claire, right? Why me? And when they when they explain that concept to me, I have my aha moment and I let go and I allow me to be branded, because what I realized that is that what separates me from any other realtor or broker for that matter is what I bring to the table and how I make you feel through the process, what I can share and how can I educate you. And that is my brand. And whether it's with a joke or whether it is because I have my pet with me in everything that I do, right? Or whether it's because I'm with my conversation, I always include my God in it, or whether every post that I have some certain music that define my services, or whether, you know, that specific thing that my being as a realtor, that's the branding. And that's why when they explain that to me, I let go of the perfection to a point, right? People want to see professional things, right? But now I don't even think about whether I create a video or whether that video needs to be edited, because if I have something of value, to me, it's like you're gonna hear me. You're not gonna see my face whether I have lipstick or not. You're gonna hear me because that's what I get to bring to the table as my branding. And it is very well received. And I think that when we get clarity that that's all it means. It means that it doesn't matter any of what any other person is doing. Who are you and how are you going to come out and share your knowledge in real estate with every client that you come in contact with? That's your branding, because that's what people are going to remember. They're going to remember that you, Claire, the realtor, make them feel so at home and so at ease and answer all their questions that now they feel like you're family. And that's what separates you from the rest.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Imalis.
Yes.
And that is pretty much, she pretty much wrapped it up in a nutshell there. The only thing that I would add is that, you know, also part of your branding is you know, having recognition. So let's use Nike, for example. If you see the swoosh, you already know it's Nike. It doesn't even have to say Nike. It doesn't have to say anything of that nature. You already know it's Nike. If you see Coke, you know, it doesn't have to say Coca-Cola. You already know it's Coca-Cola, right? It's certain things. It's a key thing that when people see it, they're gonna know it's you, right? So that could involve, part of your branding obviously is having your logo, having your tagline, having, you know, certain things, all your stations, you know, like your LinkedIn, your TikTok, your Facebook, your Instagram, any of your social medias, anything that you have online, including your Google listing, should all look the same. You don't go to one Nike outlet or one Nike website and then you go to another Nike website and it looks totally different. They're all going to look the same, right? Everything that they put out is all with one particular brand. La Rosa, for instance, right? We have our logo, right? So
Yes.
we have to brand the La Rosa brand. That is their logo. The La Rosa brand is that LR that you see in front of the screen. VIP Connections, that is our brand, right? So you want to create something, you know, besides who you are, because part of your brand is who you are. It could be also, I had an agent that she loves dogs, right? So her picture on everything, on her business cards, her social media, everything is her and her dog, right? So it's about defining who you are and what you want to portray, like Emily said, who you are as a person and who you are as a brand, right? Why would someone do business, with Nike versus Puma, right? Just like she was saying, with you versus me, why? And that's part of the whole branding, okay? And then marketing is just the stuff you have to do in order to expose your brand,
Expose your
right?
brand.
So you're
Okay.
using marketing materials, you're using flyers, you're using your posts, but everything that you do should be cohesive. Okay. For example, I'm going to use Celebration Luxury Team with Daniela here. She has her brand, right? She has her Celebration Luxury Team. She does everything is branded, her colors, her logo, her everything is branded to what she is trying to portray, which is luxury real estate. Okay. Her team all use the same colors. They, when they do their photo shoot is all the same, so they have a cohesiveness because she's building her brand based on what perception she wants people to have of who she is and her team is. Okay. So go on to Daniela's, make sure you follow her on Instagram, because she has a very nice Instagram page that you can see where it's very cohesive. She does a lot of videos, a lot of content, but it all kind of plays in and kind of looks the same. Carla is another one that has a very good Instagram page where, again, everything's very cohesive, looks very organized. And I think there was one more of your agents, Daniela. Juliana, is it, I think, that has a very nice to very luxury looking Instagram. Okay. So my point is that your brand is who you are and what you're trying to portray to other people about who you are. Okay. And then the marketing is just the stuff in between, right? The posts, the flyers that just sold, all that stuff. Okay. So this week, what I want you to do is to start having an action plan if you don't already have one. Define your weekly real estate marketing goals. So because if you don't have a plan for your marketing, then you're not doing anything. You're never going to get it done. So, I'll use Daniela again as an example. She has a schedule where, she does all her marketing efforts. She takes a couple hours during the day, if I'm not mistaken, right, Daniela? On a particular day, and she puts all her marketing efforts together, and then she has content to put out during the week. Okay.
Okay.
Marketing is also making calls, right? Making your prospecting calls, calling your sphere, calling your, whoever you need to call. That's part of your marketing efforts because that is all you trying to expose yourself. Okay. So I want you to think about what is one thing that you're going to do differently this week, because we're just, we're focusing on this week because I want you to at least try something new this week. What is one thing you're going to do differently?
Yes. Yes. Well, I just have on my calendar, my Google Calendar, I do is the 5 things a day. It's my 5 things I do in the day. I have to do every day. So
Perfect.
5 calls, 5 emails. So, and I just, I try even like on the marketing, I don't do 5 a day, but at least I do 2 or 3 is in Canva and then I post them or whatever I want to post. So, but
Okay,
that's my numbers that I have like every day. But then I
perfect.
have my meetings, the trainings and things that I want to attend in, or sometimes, just like personal stuff we have too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I
And
do have
and
this
now
little schedule, little bit.
now that you brought that up, because I think it's really important for agents to especially if you're a new agent. If you're a new agent, when I first started in real estate, one of the biggest mistakes I made was the first 6 months. All I was thinking, because I had a little bit of, type of marketing. I was doing marketing for my previous employer. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to create my logo. I got to create my colors. I got to get my tagline. I got to, get all my social medias all looking beautiful. And, I spent a lot of time the first 6 months of my real estate career trying to just create all my branding stuff, right? And I lost a lot of business in between because I was so focused on doing that I wasn't prospecting. Okay. Then I was so focused, I wanted to learn everything. I wanted to know everything before I spoke to one single person. Okay. Because that was just my mentality. I need to know what I'm talking about. I don't want to talk to anybody unless I know what I'm talking about. And so again, I was going to every single training. I was going to, focus on my marketing and all this other stuff and my branding, that I lost business. Okay. I had people that I knew that were buying and selling, and they didn't do it with me because I was too busy not prospecting. I was busy trying to build a brand and go to every single class that I can go to because I wanted to know everything. So that is one of the biggest mistakes I did in my career. And I'm going to say it right here. Don't do that. If you're a new agent, focus on prospecting and finding clients. Everything else you're going to be able to do with time. Daniela, how long did it take you to get your branding? And you've been in real estate for a long time.
Well, I actually just got my branding well-rounded, I would say, within the past 3 years, to be honest with you. And I've been in real estate since 2009. Before that, before then, I was going everywhere. I didn't have any sense of direction. I never asked myself a few questions, which I'm going to tell you quickly about here. And Teresa, we spoke about having a branding class for next month, I think, right?
Yeah, yes. And I'm actually teaching a class on Thursday on branding. So
yeah,
learn with La Rosa.
So important. Because I never actually asked myself who I was. I was always looking outside. Well, a little bit before that, what Teresa just said, I've been there too. I was all the time trying to make myself look beautiful on my social media, on my marketing newsletters, and I wasn't prospecting. So people didn't know what I was doing, but it only happened because I did not have time management. I didn't have my time blocking in place. So yes, you have to market, you have to prospect, you have to do so many things, you have to do blocks, a little bit of everything, but you cannot stop, because if you stop one thing, the other one doesn't happen. So it's all connected. So basically with my branding, I think it's important that you ask yourself who you are, what are the things that people talk about you since you were little until today. So when you were little, people used to say, oh my gosh, that girl, she is so talkative. She's so easygoing. Oh, she's so shy. Oh, she's so this and that. Or she always has a book with her. So she's going to be a good, teacher. Or she speaks so well, it's going to be a good attorney. Oh, look back in your life and see what brought you here. How were you when you were little? Are you different than you are today? Too different? What are the qualities that you have? What people talk about you today? You can look in your reviews. If you have reviews, go and take a look at your reviews and see if there are words, adjectives that are always very consistent in when people describe you. Organized, trustworthy, or I don't know, I didn't have to do anything. She did it all for me. Try to identify. If you don't have reviews, you can do other things. You can ask people in your database or people around you, your family, your kids, friends, and say, if you were to refer me to somebody else to do business with me that never knew about me, what would be 3 adjectives you would tell them about me? You would describe me how? Take note. Once I did that on my Instagram, I put on my stories and I asked that, said, if you were to refer me, give me 3 adjectives, write them here. And I took the list and I saw that a lot of times there were maybe 5 adjectives that were very consistent. And I was like, okay, this is me. This is what I deliver to people. This is the experience that I deliver when people work with me. In my case, I had the word excellence a lot. And this is something that I pride in giving to my client. This is my promise to my client and to anyone who works with my agents. If you work with me, you're going to have excellence in service. So today, I spent over 40 minutes of my day putting together a new policy for insurance of a property that I sold 2 years ago that the seller, I mean, the property owner didn't even know that it was expired, because I thought of it. I was like, you know what? This guy really looks like he probably doesn't know that it's expired. Let me check. Guess what? It was expired. So I put a new policy together for him today. He would have never known. I didn't have to do it. It's not my business. You know, it's not what I have to do. But because I provide excellence, he's like, oh my gosh, you are amazing. How have you thought of it? Well, I have a list, okay, guys. I have a list on my, every time I sell a property, 10 months later, I already put a reminder. Okay, this insurance is going to expire in 2 months. See if they had received a letter. So, you know, but this is who I am. So I said, how can I provide excellence? Because that's what people think that I deliver. And then you have to find ways. So you have to live by your values. You have to deliver your values every day in your actions. So when you look at you and you see what you deliver, you will know what your values are. And then you do your branding around it. And stop looking at other people's marketing, because that's what I was doing. You know, I always like, oh, this person has such a nice font. I love this color. So I had all colors. I'm going to put a picture for you guys of my profile. About 4 years ago, there were like 25 colors all over. You didn't know anything. Now you see me today. You're like, okay, well, this is what she delivers. But it took me a long time. And one last hint, don't use more than one profile picture throughout your entire communication for at least 1 year. Don't replace your pictures. One thing across everything, MLS, emails, Instagram, TikTok. So they look and they say, okay, this person is you.
Correct. Which is good. Yep, which is something we're going to touch on too, because I want you to make sure that you understand that your branding is very important, right? And your profile picture is important. And I actually just redid all of mine, because I had profile pictures in some of my platforms with my short hair, and then I had some other pictures with my, some long hair, and I was like, okay, people are going to get confused here. So I need to go back in there, and I actually did that last night. Because I haven't had time to do it. But, it's very important, because now when somebody searches my name, right, they're going to see everything that they see is going to be very cohesive, right? It's going to all look with the same picture, the same colors, the same logos. Everything's going to look cohesive, so that, when they see one thing, everything else is going to look exactly the same. So if you go to my Twitter, my YouTube, my not my Instagram, my LinkedIn, all my Google listing, whatever, it's all very consistent with the same picture, the same colors, the same logo. Everything's kind of consistent, right? Even the name, right? So it's really important that you guys understand that that's also part of your branding. But let's go back to marketing, because I want that to be very important as well. So I want you to write down one personal marketing goal for this week and how it aligns with your monthly sales targets, because we also have to have monthly sales targets. Okay. We have to have goals. We have to know what we're trying to accomplish for that month, so that everything that we do for that month is towards that one goal. Okay. So just making sure that you're going to take one personal marketing goal. So whatever it is, whether it's creating a Google listing, whether it's, if you don't have one, and getting some reviews, because we need some reviews on that, right? Making sure that your Instagram and your TikTok and whatever social platforms all have the same picture, that they all say the same thing. Teresa Santos, realtor, key to key group, whatever it is, right? Everything says the same thing. Be very consistent. But again, I want you to always focus first on prospecting. Your marketing and your branding is going to initially, your branding will probably change 4 or 5 times during your real estate career, right? Just like Daniela said, it started off with this, but now she's excelled to another level. So now it's luxury. It isn't just regular real estate. If she were to ever go into commercial, maybe that at that point she would have to change her branding for that. So your branding is going to change over time as you grow in your real estate career and you decide in which direction you want to go. So that's why it's important, but not so important that you have to stop prospecting to get that done and not talk to people. Okay. Because like she said, she was able to determine all these objectives, right? What people were saying about her in her reviews and what people thought about her because she was doing business. If she doesn't do any business, then she can't get those objectives from people that might want to refer her because she doesn't have any business. But that was a great tip. Thank you, Daniela, for that one where you can definitely ask your family members, what would you, if you had to refer me to a friend, what would you tell, what would you say about me? What are 3 things that you would say that you like about me? Okay. And that'll help you at least guide you with that. Okay. So definitely think about that. So create a weekly content calendar if you can, right? Like most of us will do, we will create, we'll have one day, right? Like Daniela said, you're going to time block a time where you're just going to work on your marketing efforts, right? You're going to create whatever Canva things you want to create, do any polls for the whole week, and have it already on a weekly calendar. If you have a paid version of Canva, they have a calendar there that you can link all your social medias and create all your content, and it'll automatically post it for you. So you don't even have to think about it. But it's creating that calendar where you know what you're going to post every day, right? Throughout your marketing efforts. Okay. So like these are just some examples, right? Monday, you can post a just listed or a market update. Tuesday, an email newsletter to a buyer or seller. Wednesday, share home ownership tip or a neighborhood spotlight. So these are just ideas that you can start using. So take a snapshot of this if you want, so that way, or a picture, so that way you have some ideas of things that you can do. Host an open house highlight, plan your next week's content, again, use a calendar to try to schedule everything, because that's going to help you stay organized and be more consistent. Okay. Multi-channel execution for realtors. So, obviously we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have LinkedIn. And I know a lot of people don't use LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is very powerful. That's where most business people go. So if your business is not on LinkedIn, please create a business in LinkedIn. Digital marketing, right? You have Instagram, TikTok, you have realtor.com. Do you have a realtor.com profile? Do you have a Zillow Premier profile? These are all things that that are part of your marketing and your branding, right? That you have to start doing. And again, don't stop prospecting to get all this stuff done. Pick one thing a week or one thing a day and just focus on that one thing that you're going to create. And Daniela, did you have something that you needed to say? No, I saw you go like this, but I'm not sure.
At the end, I'm gonna show the difference on the branding of Instagram profile.
Perfect. So these are the things, right, that you're gonna choose if you don't have all these, because remember, think about this, guys. When somebody's looking, if I know no realtor, right? I don't know anybody. I'm a seller. I'm looking to sell my house. Where am I going to go to find a real estate agent? Obviously, besides asking friends and family, where would I go first? Who can tell me that?
Google.
Google.
Realtor.com.
Exactly. Right? You're
Zillow
going to
or
go to Google.
Realtor.com?
And I'm sorry, where?
Realtor.com or Zillow?
You could go to realtor.com or Zillow, right? So, but most of us will go to Google, right? You're going to go to Google and you're going to say, real estate agent in Tampa, Florida, right? Or real estate agent in, Homestead, whatever it is, right? They're going to do a search and a bunch of people are going to come up on that search. You want to be able to be found on that search, right? You don't want to be on page number 26. You want to be between page 1 and 2. But the only way that you can do that, Google likes consistency. Okay. So if you have your Google listing and it says, Teresa Santos, realtor, with La Rosa Realty, right? And then on my TikTok, I just have Teresa Santos. And on my, Facebook, I only have Teresa Santos. So there's no consistency. Okay. So Google likes consistency. So if Google, their algorithm picks up all these, like, okay, well, this is the same person, this is the same person, this is the same person, because it all says the same thing. All your profiles, when they do a search, one of those profiles is going to show up. Okay. Whether that's, your Zillow profile or your realtor.com profile or your Facebook profile, or if you have a YouTube channel, maybe some of your YouTube videos, so that's what the whole thing is about. I'm actually gonna see if I can share something right here. So if you go to my Facebook, can you see my screen? Just want to make sure. My Facebook, okay.
Yeah.
That's my Facebook. If I go to my Pinterest, right? If I go to my LinkedIn, oh, gotta log in. See that there's consistency, right? Same picture, same colors, same logos, right? So that's what you want. You want to have something that's consistent to what you are trying to do, okay? That it all looks the same. And I'm sorry, I just lost my presentation here. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to get to. But this is all that it takes time. You know how many times I probably changed my look probably, I don't know, in the last 8 years, probably 6 times, right? Because either I changed partners, right? I used to have another partner in real estate, so I had to change that. I decided to change the colors, and then La Rosa decided to change their colors a little bit, so I kind of, had to change there a little bit. So I've done it about 6 times, and that's why I'm saying your branding is going to change over time. And, again, just don't focus a lot on it, but start working on it. Okay. Remember, prospecting is what's going to make you money. And then you're going to start branding, and then people are going to start looking for you, and you're going to be found. And, but you want to make sure that you have all these platforms already taken care of. Okay. So activity this week is choose 3 platforms and write 1 post per platform for a current listing or a client success story. Okay. And if you don't have a listing, that's okay. Do an open house for someone, see if someone can write a review for you on realtor.com. So, I'm not realtor.com, on Google, right? Because that's the only place, by the way, on Google is the only place that people can write a review that you don't have to have sold a property to them or anything of that nature, right? So you can even have people just write a review of who you are, your personality. Maybe you did try to help them find a house, but they changed their mind, but they had great things to say about you. Have them write a review. Whatever it is, just try to get some reviews into your system, because they're not linked to any sales. Where Zillow and realtor.com, the only way you can get a review on those platforms if you actually sold a house and it's showing up that you were the sales agent, okay, or the listing agent. Any questions so far? All right. So let's start with engaging your audience, okay? Part of your marketing efforts is to engage your audience, okay? Pick out what your niche is. Who's your target? Who's your avatar? Who's the target audience that you're trying to target? Do you want to target buyers? Do you want to target sellers? Do you want to target investors? Do you want to target, divorced people? Do you want to target, or people that are getting divorced? Are you targeting senior citizens? Are you targeting, whatever your niche? Try to figure out who your target audience is so that you can market to that audience and engage with that audience. And what do we mean by engaging? Right? Who can give me some examples of engaging? Nobody?
Participate. I'm gonna volunteer Rose.
Rose. You have been volunteered, Rose. Give me a couple of ideas, or even one idea of what I mean by engage with your audience. Oh, you're muted, my love.
By posting stuff that gonna get them interested, like buyer's tip or seller's tip and stuff like that.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. How about engaging with them on your social media? Carla, I know you do great on social media. Do you engage with people when they like your posts or they comment on your posts, Carla?
Yeah, I do.
You're muted.
Repeat for me, please.
So do you you're very good on social media. So on your social media, when somebody likes your post or makes a comment on your post, do you write them back? Do you engage with them? Do you send them a message?
Yes, I send a message in direct and Instagram direct or maybe TikTok and follow this and send this people for the people my phone number and talk to her. Please talk to me in the WhatsApp or text message, please, for contact this person.
Perfect, perfect. So she's engaging, right?
Yes.
She puts a post on her social media and somebody likes her post, right? Even if they like the post and they didn't comment on the post, you can go see who liked your post and then send them a direct message and say, thank you so much for liking my post. What did you like about it? Or, if you want any
More
information.
information.
Exactly, right? So now you're engaging, right? Another way of engaging, obviously, is using your CRM, right? If you're sending messages, one of the things that I've noticed a lot with real estate agents is that they'll set up their CRM, they'll start people on a campaign, and people reply to their campaign and nobody is calling them or engaging with that person, right? So for example, if I put up someone on an auto sending them listings, right, because they were interested in buying at one point and we put them on an automatic sending them properties, and they show up that they like that property, or they viewed that property, that's a perfect way for you to engage, right? So if someone likes a property that I send them or puts a heart next to that property, or whatever, I'm going to reach out to that person and say, hey, I noticed that you hearted this property. What did you love about it? Would you like to schedule to go look at that property, right? It's an opportunity for you to engage with your audience, right? So reply to DMs and comments with DMs, right, within the first 24 hours. Follow up on open house sign-ins, right? If you have an open house and they actually did, you have a little sign-in, make sure that you follow up with those people. Use your CRM, right? Lofty to track your warm leads. These are all things that you can do to engage with your audience. Okay. Because if you do this amazing post, right, and you get 100 likes or 10 messages on it, but you don't do anything with that, then why are you posting? Right? Why are you posting? Now that should give you an idea too as to what's working and what's not working, right? So if I create a post and I only got 2 likes, I'm like, oh, okay, well, that didn't do too well. Maybe I should look and see why it didn't do too well. And maybe compare it to something I posted that did do well. And I'm like, okay, so this post did well, this post did not do well. What were the differences in these 2 posts that now I need to maybe try to do more of these posts because this got more engagement. But again, what's the purpose of having a bunch of followers and a bunch of likes and a bunch of comments if you're not engaging with them? So you're basically doing all this work for absolutely nothing because you're not engaging with your audience. Okay. So pay very close attention whenever you create a post, and whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, wherever, TikTok, wherever it is, engage with those people. If they like it or they made a little comment, write back, thank you so much, do you want any information, whatever it is, but engage. The other way you can engage too is when you're scrolling through social media, you can look at, let's say you like a post or you made a comment on a post, or maybe you just liked the post but you didn't comment on the post. Take a minute to comment. Why? Because that helps too with the algorithm. If you just like a post, they might not see your stuff, right? But if you comment on someone's post, the chances of them seeing what you put out are going to be greater because you're engaging with that person in a conversation, right? In some sort of engagement. So you have engagement. Now they're going to be able to see more of your stuff because now you're engaging with them. So now they're going to be able to see more of your posts and hopefully they'll engage with you, right? But again, make sure that you engage with your audience, okay? So an activity you can do is identify 3 warm leads in your database, which could be, your sphere. plan how you'll reach out this week, either by call, email, or message. Now, how many people here are calling their sphere of influence? And Syed, I want you to, not a lot of people were on the call when you first jumped in. So if you're still on here, can you tell me, and I don't know if he is or not. I don't see Syed, are you on here or no?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, perfect. Can you share what you did in this last couple days that you mentioned this morning, that you did something and you got a lead?
Yeah, I was calling my past clients, my buyers, and a couple of them, they changed their mind and they were ready to sell and move to another location. So basically, they wanted to sell their house and they want to buy a new one because
And
they didn't like their locations.
And
know.
all because you reached out to them. You did
Exactly.
your follow up. You engaged,
Exactly.
right? You went
Exactly.
back and you started calling them and following up, and now you got them to now you have, for sales there, right? Because now you're going to sell their property and help them find another one.
Exactly.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so prospecting is really key, even with your sphere, your old clients. And if you don't have any old clients, still call your sphere. Call your sphere. That's where you begin until you get your marketing done and your branding, all that little stuff that you have to do in between. But it's very important that you guys do the prospecting, okay? Because we don't want you to spend money on marketing if you're not getting your prospects. Yes.
I want to share something I recently experienced. I have recently subscribed homes.com
Okay.
and I was very happy to subscribe that. They are charging something around $165 a month, and all your listings, they go and they do the photo shoots by themselves, and they create an excellent presentation. They have CMAs and everything. One of the additive advantage, the strategy that I saw, there was a lady who was from La Rosa, who was recommended to me by Laverne. She was a realtor, and the community where I'm living, um, she was not able to sell the house. And she said, "Can you please help me in selling the house?" I said, "Do me a favor. Can you make me as your co-listing agent?" She said, "Yeah, I can make you a co-listing agent." So what happened that the time she made me co-listing agent, my profile automatically went to homes.com, and the leads start generating. People start contacting me directly. So if you want to generate leads, you can. We have so many agents over here, and you can become a co-listing agent, and you would start generating leads, and the leads are very, very hot.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Syed.
Yeah.
All right. So review and optimize every Friday. Every Friday, right? You're going to take a look at whatever you've done in the past week and see what's working and what's not working. Okay. It's really just that. What's working and what's not working. Did you, when you engage, did you get, feedback back? So find out what's working. Review what you're doing once a week so that you know if it's working or it's not working and what you need to change. Or maybe, like I said, one post did really well and one post didn't do so well. So, okay, let's take a look at the one that did well and let's make some more of that type of post, right? So just, you have to review, you have to keep track of what you're doing, okay? All right, so marketing minute. Do you have a Google business listing? Who here has a Google business listing? You can just raise your hand or unmute and just say yes. Who has a Google business listing? Okay, I have Daniela. Norma, do you have a Google listing? No? Karine? Karine?
Oh,
No, okay. Dalia, do you have a Google listing? Liliana? Okay, perfect, perfect. So for those of you who do not have a Google listing, please create a Google business listing. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. You just have to create it. Okay. You're gonna put the address to wherever you receive mail. So that way they can send you, because sometimes they can verify it online, but sometimes you actually have to, they have to send you like a little postcard in the mail to verify that it's you. But make sure that you have a Google business listing. That's where you want to start. And then from there, you can start, creating your Pinterest. Believe it or not, Pinterest is a key platform, right? Facebook, your LinkedIn, if you don't have it, and just be very consistent with your look, okay? But if you don't have a Google listing, start creating one and start asking your friends, your families to write reviews on that Google listing. Or if you have past clients, send them the link, say, hey, I would love for you to write a review. I'm trying to brand my business and grow my business, and it would be so awesome if you can just write a review for me. Okay. And a lot of people will do it if you just send them the link. They just go straight into the link and it takes them 3 minutes to write the review. Yes, Syed.
By Google, do you mean Google profile, or do I have to create a listing on Google?
No, a Google listing is your Google profile. Yes, your business profile.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. So, some growth tips for this week. Define your unique selling proposition, right? So identify what sets you apart from other real estate agents in your area. Highlight your strengths, specialties, and unique services that make you stand out. Number 2, build a strong online presence, right? So start working on that. Create a professional website, which you should have with Lofty if you have it, showcasing your listing, services, and client testimonials. Utilize social media platforms to engage with your audience and share valuable content related to real estate, but also related to you, guys. That's another thing. Everything on your platforms does not have to be real estate related, because it will get boring and people will stop watching. Okay. Put some personal stuff on there. Okay. Put some personal stuff on there. If you love dogs, put your picture with your dog. If you love cats, put your picture with your cat. If you have kids, post a picture with your kids in the pool. Whatever it is, make sure that you also personalize it, because people want to see who you are. They don't just want to see a just listed, just sold. It becomes boring and they're just going to just skip right over you and they're not even going to look. There's no engagement going to be created in that. Okay. Do some tour videos that might get some more engagement than just posting a static post. Consistent branding, right? Maintain consistent branding image across all marketing materials, including your website, business cards, social media profiles, advertisements, everything that helps create a strong and recognizable brand identity. Okay. And today I want to do our agent spotlights for Mr. Syed Shaw, who is here with us today. And the reason I chose Syed is because he is doing the work, right? He changed careers, right? You went from IT and doing all this other stuff. He went into real estate. He loves to participate. He's always asking questions. He's always, trying to grow. He produces because he's putting in the work, right? He's actually he follows instructions from his mentors, from his people that are guiding him. He follows instructions and he does what he's asked to do. And that's why he's being successful. That's why this week he got four sales in a sense, because he's going to have 2 listings and then find 2 homes for these 2 listings for these 2 clients. Okay. So he's doing the work. Congratulations, Syed, on your, everything that you're doing, because again, we want to make sure that we spotlight, and it could be, again, just participation, production, but if you're doing the work and you have a mentor or a guide, like, everyone here, our leaders here, and they recommend for you to do something, start doing some of the stuff, because we've been there. We've done it. We've experienced it. We know what we're talking about. So do at least one thing a week to grow your business. You know, I know that a lot of us have full-time jobs, a lot of them, you know, of us have families, but if you got into this into this career, it's for a reason. Okay. So congratulations, Syed. And this week's food for thought: what would your business look like if you treated marketing as important as a closing? So what would your business look like if you treated marketing as important as a closing? That's something that you can ponder on this week. Okay. Any questions so far? If not, we will say good night to everyone. We're a little, maybe 8 minutes over our time, but I want to make sure that we got everything answered. So if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand, unmute yourself, anything that, you know, that we might have missed that you're still kind of confused about. We want to make sure that you get, you know, your questions answered.
I wanted to say two super fast things here before we close. The first one is something that Carla does about communicating with her audience is that not only she responds to them, and she actually left earlier because she had a call with a buyer's consultation with someone who contacted her through TikTok or actually Instagram. But after she communicates with them on direct, she asks them if they want to be on her direct list to be receiving properties. And then she has a WhatsApp group where she adds all these people, and they individually, she posts every day one listing for them, one opportunity. So she has a group for people that are interested in short-term rentals in Orlando area, or she has a group for people that want to spend something up to like 500,000, and then every day or every other day she posts something on these groups. And
Beautiful.
this is amazing, the turnout of communication she has with these people. Okay. And the other thing is that I already posted on our My Agent account on links. You will find the Lofty guide that I told you in the beginning. It's already there. There are 2 links.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
again, guys, go to my agent account and go into the VIP Connections group, because that's where we're going to be posting the recordings. We're going to be posting any links, anything that we feel is a great resource for you in your market, right? Because we have different markets here. So obviously Georgia will post from Georgia, California and Texas will post from those markets. I'll post from Puerto Rico and Miami. You know, Daniela will post from Central Florida. So everything that we post on there is for you guys. Those are resources for you. So, you know, take advantage of the resources that we're giving you. And I want to thank you so much for being here, because that shows that you guys are dedicated, that you guys are willing to put in the effort and put in the work to learn, to strategize, and to be successful in this business. Because, you know, one of the things about success, one of the first things that I learned about success is that you have to show up, right? If you don't show up, if I didn't show up for a lot of the trainings or a lot of the things that I knew were going to help me grow, you know, I wouldn't be where I'm at, right? So, and many of us, right? The successful people show up, right? Because it doesn't matter how long you've been in the market, there's always going to be opportunity for you to learn something new from someone who's done it better, or maybe someone who's, you know, taken it to a different level, that now is able to share all those things with you as well. So show up, because, you know, you never know what you're going to get, what nuggets you're going to be able to take home, and share. I want you guys to also share. This is not a, you know, Teresa show or Daniela show, or, you know, or any of us, right? This is about you. And if you have something that you feel, hey, I just did this, like Syed just did, right? Hey, about homes.com, right? He gave an idea, he engaged and gave an idea of something that we can do. We are welcome. We're open to receiving all that, because, you know, maybe there's something that you're doing that I'm not doing, right? Or maybe something that Daniela's not doing that might benefit us, just like something we're doing that might benefit you. So this is a collaborative group, and we want you guys to share your nuggets, you know, like we're sharing ours, and that way we can all grow together. Okay.
If you're struggling and
Yeah.
you're sitting here with us for an hour and you're not speaking up for yourself and sharing where your struggles are and how can we support you, what are we doing, right? So
Right.
please, this is your hour for wherever you're at. If you're super new, if you think that you're not doing it correctly, or if you think that something is actually working, just cooperate. We're family. Let's just, bring us up together at the same time.
Right. And we remember we have the WhatsApp group and we have, you can always write if you're struggling with something or you have a question, use it. It's not for us just to post when we're having this. It's for you to use it. If you have a questions, you're struggling, you have a deal and you're trying to figure out how to work it, post it in the chat and somebody will answer. Somebody will answer. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for staying a
Thank you so
little
much.
later than usual. It was great for the ones who stayed here, 12 of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will see you next week. We don't have the subject yet. Carmen is working on it because Carmen's going to be here next week teaching and sharing. But I'll let you guys know as soon as she gives me that and I'll post it in the chat. Okay. Have a good night,
Thank
everybody.
you. Good night. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
You're welcome.